For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website betchriscanada.net.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast presented by betchriscanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Wednesday, January 15th, 2020. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, folks, here we go. Midweek edition of the Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Cam Stewart hanging out in the burbs of Toronto. And things just soldier on. Just another day. Oh, wait a minute. Gerard Gallant got fired. All right. My world's like, the world's spinning backwards here. The Golden Knights lose to the Sabres and a 4-game losing streak. They've been asleep at the switch with slow starts in recent games. Cam, after the game, Mark Stone saying stuff like, well, we're the better team and they've got the 25th ranked power play. We've got to kill those. Like, yeah, that's great, guys. You keep saying you're the better team. Stop talking and do it. And listen, Bill Foley's an Army guy, right? I mean, and Gerard Gallant is a player's coach. I think the owner likes discipline, and I just think there was a belief that the players, I don't know, we're starting to run the show.
I think it's crazy. I think
it's a bad. I mean, I think it's
crazy.
Coach.
I couldn't believe when this story broke. This team goes to the damn Stanley Cup final in your inaugural year, and you're getting rid of the coach. Take a look at these other franchises: Toronto, Montreal, Detroit. They pray to be like Vegas. The thing is, they're on a cold streak. I get it. The players got to step up. It's not the coach. I'll tell you, man, this is absolutely insane to me. But hey, you can do whatever you want. Like, this team's not playing well. This is not Gerard Gallant. It's up to the players. They're professionals. Get your head out of your ass and figure it out. I think this is absolutely nuts. Personally.
I think you sign the Excalibur beacon on the front office. They don't fire 23 players, right? It's always the coach. I will say this, Cam. I have been saying on my show in Vegas for the better part of a year, and I thought it was extremely odd.
Yeah,
they never said whether he had a 3 or a 4-year deal. They never talk about contracts. But I'm telling you, Cam, the stuff we talk about with hockey, where history repeats itself, and it's an old boys network, and all the things where things just are right there in front of your face. I've been saying for the better part of a year that it is not going to shock me. And now I'm changing that to say that by the weekend, Gerard Gallant will be the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings. It is so obvious. He is best friends. He was his wingman. He's Gallant's best friends with Yzerman. He's a legend in Detroit. And had Gallant even finished out this season, and had they done anything other than win the Stanley Cup, Gallant, who they call Turk, would have been staying one step ahead of the Turk, although the Turk got him. But it makes complete and utter sense. He goes to Detroit. He coaches for Yzerman with nowhere to go but up, and build a good young team. Now I'm telling you, Cam, I will be stupefied. I think because of the Red Wings thing, they're historically bad. These guys are god-awful. And Yzerman was just going to ride this out with Blashill. No, I don't want an interim coach. I don't want to do anything with this. I'm waiting until I can get my meat hooks on Gerard Gallant. Well, he was just delivered to him on a platter.
Great point, Brian, and I agree. You look at Detroit, the way they've been getting, and it's not just bad now; it's dumpster fire bad. Losing to the Islanders 8-2, it's a train wreck there, right? They got all their young stars hurt. It's brutal, and I love it. Good for Detroit, and I'm happy. I hope Gerard Gallant gets that gig and lands on his feet, and I hope he, does well. I think this is nuts. So what? So what's Peter DeBoer got? Like, what's he done compared to Gerard Gallant? What's this guy done? He hasn't done anything anywhere. He gets, you know what I mean? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely stupid. But you know what? Hey, these guys. You're doing a hockey show. I'm doing a hockey show. You're close to the situation there. I just find it insane for a franchise that's been in their third damn year to get rid of a coach that takes them to the Stanley Cup final. For me, I give them a window of time years afterwards. But that's just me, Brian. That's just me.
Well, no, I mean, I honestly, George McPhee lasted 17 years with Washington.
Yeah.
So that means he was, always not in the pocket, but just always knew how to play the game with the owner. So
that's a good point.
This probably could have come down to a him or me thing. And I don't get it. I think, go listen. The one thing about Gerard Gallant, he is the way he played. He's tough as nails. But, the Florida thing, they had a bad stretch and he got fired.
Yep.
And remember this now. Gallant, this is so intriguing to me, where I'm shocked, but I'm not. Like, people around here are blue in the face. They're like, what? And I'm telling you, I have broached this subject on Vegas Hockey Outline, my show in town here. No one knows, what is the relationship behind closed doors, owner, GM. McPhee makes the trade for Tatar in the first year. Tatar basically doesn't see the light of day. They gave up a first, a second, and a third-round pick for the guy. Then they rushed to bring Nikita Gusev over to get him here for the playoffs last year, and Gallant did not play him. So there was just always something saying to me, what is that relationship behind closed doors? And don't forget, Gallant was Florida was heading the right way, but all of a sudden Florida went agree with it or disagree with it, and I disagree with it. But Florida went with that analytics nonsense. And Gallant's an old school guy. And Gallant fought management, and then there's the famous picture of him getting in the cab in Carolina. So Gallant draws a line in the sand. I can see him being very, not tough to work with, but I don't know that he's necessarily on the same page with management. And he proved with Florida he was willing to fall on a sword for what he believed in. So, and honestly, I swear to you, we've been talking about this. I wonder what that relationship is like with McPhee and Gallant. And then clearly, the owner, Bill Foley, had a lot to say about this. And I can't help, and I know Bill Foley very, very well. And he's always great with his time. And, in fact, I've got a request out to see if he'll come on my radio show today to address this. But he's an Army guy. So he's a disciplinarian. Gallant is a player's coach. And, so the inner workings and relationships behind closed doors, Cam, is
it's a good point.
Know.
We're not there. I'm just saying Gerard Gallant, in my opinion, is a very good coach. And the Detroit Red Wings, if this happens, Brian, will be very happy to have him as their next head coach. Steve Yzerman and everybody in the Motor City will be happy. I just think it's I'm slack-jawed because this team you could not have in the history of sports. It was probably the best. Yes, it is. It's actually factual. The best inaugural season ever. A team coming into the league and going to the Stanley Cup final. But anyway, we move on. But it's insane to me. Good luck, DeBoer and the rest of the Vegas team. It's up for the players to get their heads out of their asses. They're playing like junk. That's the bottom story. Pacioretty's soft. These guys think they're better than they are, and it's up to them to step up.
This is the hockey betting podcast. All right, so let's go.
Yeah, we'll bet.
Let me tell you something. We talked about the Vegas game at Buffalo. All right, they bet Vegas like they knew the score. Vegas went up to $1.70, and I kept making the point, Cam. We talked about this. I don't care who you are, situations. Buffalo, if you looked at their record, now teams, and by the way, Vegas all of a sudden roared up, went to first place in the standings, and now they're in fifth place inside of 2 weeks. That's how quick this stuff changes. Now, the Sabres all of a sudden have their dad's trip on Thursday and Saturday, so know that. Nashville and Dallas, so dad's trip for the Sabres. Then I think they play something ridiculous like 11 of 12 at home against weaker foes. If you looked at their record, and again, we go on a game-to-game basis when we do this stuff, but Buffalo's record, and I said this before the game yesterday, was 21-19-7. They were 0-3 against Boston, 0-4 against Tampa, and 1-1 against St. Louis. Can we make the case? I mean, Washington certainly in the discussion. But if you said Boston, Toronto, St. Louis, certainly 3 of the top 5 or 6 teams in the league, correct?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Buffalo's 1-8 against them, so -7 games. All right, and as it stands today, they're 2 over 500. If you threw those games out, which you can't, but I'm just saying, if you threw those games out, and oh, by the way, their backup goalie, Carter Hutton, is on an 11-game losing streak.
Yes.
So if your backup goalie played 500 hockey and you threw the games out against the three teams I just talked about, the Sabres are like 12 games over 500 against the rest of the league. And they're sitting there catching plus $1.50 at home to Vegas?
Exactly. I was on Buffalo too. It's crazy. Like, and people don't understand. We understand. You understand. People around my area understand. Buffalo's a tough place to play. It's not easy going in there, even with the injuries that the Sabres have. It's a tough building. They got good fans. It's
Cam, 14-6-3 at home, and they're getting plus $1.45.
Yeah, against the coldest team in the National Hockey League. Thank you.
That's why we love hockey. That's why we love doing the hockey betting podcast. And you know, the craziness about this too is, Cam, the beauty of it is that when these situations arise and we come up with these, I mean, we're not like, a lot of times we don't sit there and go, well, I'll take a little flyer with the team that's plus $1.70. Yeah. We're sitting there sometimes going, that's the bet of the night.
It is.
There are bad numbers in hockey all over the place.
No, it was crazy. Like, I smashed the Islanders puck line, Leaf over. We've been talking to people about the Islanders now being an over team. Like, yeah, it was a great night. The only thing that didn't work out for me was Minnesota as my pooch of the night, and the Pittsburgh Penguins just can't be stopped. Sidney Crosby comes back and he wins. But Brian, interestingly enough, a little foreshadowing, I will probably go against them game 2 of him coming back against an ice cold team in Boston that I think the Penguins, it'll catch up to them the next game. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, by the way, I just very quickly to come back to the Gallant thing for just 1 second. I find it pretty telling, if you think about this, that we had talked about Vegas's next home game is February 8th. Yeah. So it's the first game of a 4-game Eastern road trip, the All-Star break, their break, then they go back on a 4-game Eastern road swing. Are they cackling about this? No, I mean, I'm serious. They fire the coach when they're going to be gone for a month. That's kind of the easy way out.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's a very bad decision. But time will tell. We'll see what happens there. It's just, in my opinion, an overreaction. But you said it, Brian. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. I don't know the conversations. I don't know if the personalities clashed. I just think Gerard Gallant's a good hockey man, and another team will be very happy to have him in charge.
I tell you,
he's right.
It's
crazy.
You know,
I'm
time will be the judge.
Yes,
on this. All right, I'll keep coming back to it because something else will pop up. But we got 2 games on Wednesday night. Chicago, Montreal. Is Montreal good enough to lay $1.80?
No, they're not. They're not. But is Chicago good enough to take 60 cents on? I'm not sure either. Probably a stay away game. I don't know. Did you have opinion of the total, Brian? Maybe, there's Chicago starting to play unders. I would think this a couple weeks ago would have been an automatic over. I think this is a pass game for me. I like Montreal in the game. I think they win, but I'm not laying 80 cents with Montreal. Hey, I was right the other night with Montreal and Calgary. We did the little test, and I told you that's what we're doing with these lines. Calgary, hottest team in the NHL, 15 cents. What happens? Carey Price shutout. Calgary played like junk that night. Now it's the opposite way. This line should be $1.50, $1.40 tops. It's $1.80. So I think Montreal wins the game. I'm just not in the mood to lay 80 cents.
Well, I love you like a brother, buddy, and unfortunately, or fortunately, as it were, we think alike a lot. And to me, I want no part of this game. And the only other game that's there for us tonight is Philly and St. Louis. And I will tell you, they opened this 5.5. I like the over 5.5. I think you get the push at worst. St. Louis is $1.70. An out-of-conference game, St. Louis, that banging, big-bodied team is also a team, even without Tarasenko, that's lighting the lamp. And Philly certainly has offensive potential. So of the 2 games, the only thing I'd saddle up to tonight is the over 6 in the Philly-St. Louis game.
I agree with the over 6. I also might take a shot with Philadelphia, Brian. I think it's a good price. This team's kind of got a bounce in their step. The nice comeback win against Boston where Marchand gagged in the shootout. That was so fun to watch. For me, I really enjoyed that, especially since the Flyers came back in that game. It's interesting.
What did he skated by it?
Just skated right by it. Yeah,
he skated by it and licked it.
He licked it. He licked it. Yeah. Anyway, that guy, great hockey player, but that guy drives me nuts. Hey, good on you, Boston. I watching the Bruins lose doesn't bother me. I'll tell you one thing. Let's go with the Philadelphia Flyers and the over. I think the Flyers are worth taking a pooch. It's hard to get in front of St. Louis, though. You said it, Brian. These guys play damn good hockey on a night-by-night basis. They don't go into cold streaks. They're hot.
We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to -106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST. All right. We hope you enjoy the show. I mean, you know, Cam, if you stick with him, eventually says something funny. like you know, the beauty of it is, Cam, it usually takes a minute or two. No, we have a few laughs.
We got sidetracked today with this Gallant news.
Buddy. I mean, right? I'm showing my love for you and the listeners doing this because I'm juggling grenades right now. I'm walking through hell in a gasoline suit.
Oh, I know.
But what I was going to tell you is, those of you that listen to this, again, the bad numbers that are out there. What did we say on Monday's podcast when we were looking ahead to Tuesday night? It said, listen, Toronto and Jersey and the Leafs defense is already a train wreck. And now their best defenseman's out 8 weeks. And I'm like, that total should have been 7 or 7.5, and it was 6.5. And I think they just scored again.
Yeah, exactly. My only and my regret is not taking that Islanders over. It was almost over in the first period. This team, they lose Pelech. Like, they got no defense either. So now they're playing in an up-tempo game and they're scoring goals. The Rangers game, it went over. They're giving up goals. They're scoring goals. So I'll tell you, man, that it was the salami was very, very, very salty and tasty the other night.
Hey, nice, by the way, I'm scurrying through here. I'm trying to find a guy. Oh, here it is. We appreciate new listeners. Drew Thrasher.
Oh, yeah, Drew Thrasher. Yeah, nice guy.
You know him?
He tweets a lot to our other shows. Yeah, Drew Thrasher's the guy.
D Thrasher 90.
Yeah.
Ended up joining us and signing up here. Now, with the exclamation points, I think he meant I think what he was trying to say, the other night, Monday, he went 5 for 5.
Yeah, 5 for 5.
But he said just went 5 and 5, which would be, I don't know why he'd be thanking anybody for that, but he thanks for the picks. I think he meant to say there were 5 games Monday night. Yep. And I think that's the thing too, is, when we say this stuff, I mean, I do this on my radio show sometimes, and when, we hash it out, the two of us could be sitting saying something here, leaning you a certain way in a game. But if you're out there listening and go, no, Boxer Rocks, no, you're missing this, and we could actually say something, point you in the other direction. That's the beauty of this. No one's right all the time. But the thing is, I think, you hash this out, and we're going through a menu of games. A lot of times it is up to the listeners to take the stuff we say, and ultimately, when it's all said and done, Cam, you're pulling your own trigger.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We just do the best we can, and most of the time, hopefully we get it right, Brian. It's been pretty good the last couple nights. We've been nailing most of the games there. Yeah, once in a while, like I take a shot with Minnesota. That's what happens when you take a plus 155 dog, right? Sometimes you're going to shoot the gun. No bullet's going to come out there. But, I feel pretty good about the card. And I'll tell you one thing. This other game for Thursday night, I think people are automatically going to pick Pittsburgh. I'm saying put the brakes on. I know Tuukka Rask had a concussion. Boston's playing bad, but if they're going to get their act together, it'll be versus the Penguins. I expect Boston.
It's a mad hockey
I am
team.
on Boston against Pittsburgh that night.
Well, it's $1.50. I mean, are you going that road hooking up in parlays?
I'll wait then.
But Pittsburgh's remarkable what they're doing.
They are. They're you want to talk about?
And now Crosby's back. See, you talk about but you get a bounce in your step, Cam. They're winning to beat the band. Also, now Crosby comes back. They probably go on a massive heater.
Yeah,
you're a brave man. I'm staying away.
I just think the spot, feeling good. The game against Minnesota. This is a game where people are like, oh, I got to ride Pittsburgh, and I'm just saying, be careful. I think I'm going to be taking the Boston Bruins that night, and that line will go down. That line will go down. People will bet Pittsburgh. Boston will be $1.30 by game time. Guaranteed.
Well, let's come right back to it. I mean, because that was of our plays on Monday night, it was the game we believed was the best bet on the card, and that was the Rangers and Islanders to go over the total, and the final was 6-2.
Correct.
Now you're boomeranging back here with the Rangers at the Islanders. Does anything change?
I don't think so. Usually,
maybe the total does.
Yeah, it'll be 6.5 instead of 6, probably. The thing is, it's kind of like we do the old Buffalo Toronto 2-step, right? Over in Buffalo, under in Toronto. I'm not sure if it's going to happen here. I would probably take the Islanders in a revenge situation with the over again. I can tell you one thing: the Rangers will score. Panarin's a monster. They've been playing great hockey, and I just can't see. I can't see the Islanders shutting down the Rangers. And I can tell you one thing: the Islanders are scoring lots of goals. I'd go over again, but I'd take the Islanders in a revenge spot.
What about Montreal, Philly, with both of them playing on Wednesday night, and then both of them having to fly to Philly? I think a tad tougher travel, and I would think a tougher game for Philly. I wonder about Montreal a little bit here on Wednesday night. I would think, Montreal's playing Chicago. Philly could get beat up by St. Louis, and it's easier travel to Montreal to Philly than it is from St. Louis to Philly. I slide slightly to Montreal.
It's tough. Montreal, that's the thing. They can win when Carey Price gets hot, but the injuries. This team's just not very good, Brian. And I'll tell you one thing. You talk about a team. The Flyers can play good hockey at home. We talk about the Sabres. I'm in no rush to take Montreal. I'll take a look at the price, but I'd probably lean Philly in that spot, especially if they lose to the Blues. I'll come back to Philadelphia against Montreal, I think.
All right. Well, let me throw this at you, Pally. I didn't do it, and for long stretches of the evening was I kicking myself, and that was L.A. taking on Tampa Bay.
Yep.
As what were they, plus
260,
280?
Yeah, 280. Yeah.
And Tampa Bay beats them in a shootout.
Lucky.
But you know why, Cam? This is a rarity. I told you, the Sabres have their dad's trip coming up Thursday, Saturday. I know when the Blues trip is. It's when they play Anaheim, Vegas later in February. L.A. is on a 4-game road trip, and the only other team I ever remember doing this was Toronto, where they flew the moms on their own down to meet them in a road trip. That's what L.A.'s done here. So the dads were flown in for the Florida swing. So L.A. played their lungs out and lost in a shootout, but it is their dad's trip, so I think I take a little flyer with the Kings against Florida here.
Yeah, the only reason, Brian, I wouldn't take the Kings in that game, just the emotional letdown and tough loss against Tampa Bay, Florida at home. Yeah, but you're right. The Kings, I got to give these guys a lot of credit. They're battling in all these games, and we usually take the -1.5, but I'd look at the +1.5 with Florida is a big favorite too, because these Kings, you don't want to lose money in a tough game, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game went to an overtime or a shootout as well. Kings, they really battle. Got to give them a lot of credit.
No, well, listen, that dad's trip, but believe me, I was mad at myself because to me it's almost a blind play. I don't care what the number is, and sure enough, they showed up with this, incredible effort that fell just short. in the shootout, the goalie was quick, so that would mean you're gonna get Campbell.
Campbell
who's not
Soup.
bad.
No, Campbell Soup is pretty good. Like I think he's done quite well. I got no problem with Campbell. Like that's the thing. Quick's very inconsistent too. A veteran goalie, sometimes he can catch fire, but he hasn't been great. So I have no problem when they start Campbell. None at all.
Well, all right, let's go to it. I mean, Vegas at Ottawa's Vegas.
Here we go, Brian. Here we go.
$1.70 on the road.
Oh my God!
And
they gotta win though. Like that's the thing. Like lose to Buffalo, but I'm not laying 70 cents. Do we take a chance with Ottawa? You tell me, Brian. You're clairvoyant. This team's in your backyard, man. You tell me. It's hard to pull the trigger with the Ottawa Senators. Like they're grinding though, but. Do you lay 70 cents with Vegas? No. Should they win? Yes.
Well, do you want the case for Ottawa?
Yes, I do. Sell me on Ottawa because I'm thinking about. I really want to hit that button plus 150, 160. Damn right.
Well, Vegas collectively, they're all squeezing a stick.
Yeah, they are.
And they're playing for a new coach and all that crap, and a lot of times that works. Although I think with Bugner, it didn't set the San Jose ablaze.
Nope.
Nashville took a couple games to get going. And they're kind of still treading water. Well, here's the reason why I wouldn't go near this with a telephone pole. Mark Stone's going back to Ottawa.
Oh yeah, good call.
All right, now Mark Stone may want to play his lungs out because that. But you know what? Look what the Islanders did when Tavares left. To this day, the fans go nuts, and to this day, the Islanders fans say we don't need you.
Yeah, exactly.
You think Ottawa's not going to circle the wagons and they maybe some of them there loved the guy, maybe some of them there were sick and tired of the whole nonsense that he wanted out. But that's no given. Vegas is walking in there. I think Ottawa. Listen, all Ottawa does, they may not win a boatload, but they show up every night.
Yes, they do. They're the best, one of the best grinding teams in the league, and I actually might take Ottawa because I got to believe too. Everybody and their mother, they're going to throw their mortgage, the kitchen sink on Vegas. Oh, first game for the coach, coming off the loss to Buffalo, 4-game losing streak, la-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you know what? Ottawa can ruin the party and break the bank. I can tell you one thing. The sports books are going to need Ottawa, and I want to be on their side.
All right.
Right?
No, I believe me. I absolutely kind of think they're live.
Yes. What do we do with Tampa Bay and Minnesota? The Lightning were lucky to beat the Kings. The Minnesota Wild let me down against Pittsburgh, but the Lightning are the type of team they can go in there and kill them or take the night off and lose. I don't know about that game. That's a tough one.
Minnesota, boy, I was making money with them. They were an over team. Now they're back to being I have no clue.
Me neither. I probably like Colorado over San Jose, Brian. Heartbreaking loss. I'll tell you something about the Avalanche. They got to get their act together, too. They had a 2-0 lead in that game against Dallas. They pissed it away and lose. Like, I get it. Like, these things are going to happen. But they've lost 4 damn games in a row, man. Like, this is getting serious. 3-4-3 in their last 10. It's a problem. Like, the Colorado Avalanche are not playing good hockey right now. But I'll tell you, I think I'm probably going to have to take them against S.J. Sharkey, who sucks. I was on Arizona the other night. Oh, they got it done, but made it interesting.
All right, Cammie, listen, it's Dad's trip. We've already had the discussion. Buffalo's at Dallas catching $1.70. By the way, if you're an NHL coach, don't think you want to be coaching any games in Buffalo anytime soon. All right, Gallant went in there and got gas canned. Who was it? Hines, Jersey, right? Jersey lost in Buffalo, gas canned.
That's right. After the 5-0 first period lead and Louis Domingue going nuts, he got his ass fired after that game.
All right. Yep. Well, anyway, Buffalo early in the year when they were playing really, really well, beat Dallas at home 4-0. Dallas is not this offensive juggernaut, but very under the radar. Linus Ullmark has played really well.
Yes, he has.
He really, really has. And it's the Dad's trip, man. I'd play it here. Buffalo's won a couple in a row, albeit they beat Detroit, who's a dog's breakfast. They beat Vegas, who's out of sorts, and got their coach fired. But Buffalo has a real. This is the last gasp, Cam. This 3-4 week window here is determining buyer, seller, but they have a real favorable schedule coming up now. And the other thing is, you say, well, what do they do with the trade deadline? Well, they are also going to get, and they're not going to be there for this game, but you're going to get Olofsson and Skinner back.
Exactly. Soon. No, I like it. No, I'm telling you one thing. I won't be laying $2 or more with the Dallas Stars. It's Buffalo or nothing. Dallas has been playing better hockey, though. They're a tough team to play against, but No, for me, it's the Sabres or nothing. They go in there, and I think they can get it done.
All right. And then the proverbial get-out game, I think it is. Uh-oh, buddy. Uh-oh, got one for you.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Which game?
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. All right, play of the night.
Oh, here we go. That's bold.
You ready? Play of the night in the NHL.
I'm listening.
Arizona plus 15 cents at Vancouver. First game home from a 5-game Eastern road swing. Thank you very little.
No, I actually would have taken probably Arizona anyway. Vancouver, sure, they win a couple games, but they're still the Canucks. Winnipeg, they are smoke and mirrors team. Winnipeg took them out to the woodshed, a game that we liked. Should have gone harder on Winnipeg. They absolutely smashed them. Yeah, I'll take the Coyotes.
Oh, I'll even go with you.
Oh, plus 15. Oh, yeah.
What do coyotes eat?
Everything. Meat. They eat probably rabbits, desert snakes, rabbits. I bet coyotes just eat anything. Probably take a bite out of a scorpion.
All right, we know what a Canuck is.
Yeah, Canuck.
Right? It's a Canadian. But what isn't there a critter on their jersey?
Yeah, it's a orca whale because the company that used to own them.
Well, coyotes eat little fish.
Yeah, coyotes. Yeah, they'll eat anything. Coyotes eat plants. Little things that are running. Prairie dogs, rabbits.
They'll eat the ears off a goalie's mask.
Yeah, damn. Markstrom. Yeah, I'm with the Coyotes. Oh, yeah, I like that play, Brian. Give me the 15 cents. Come on.
All right.
Yeah, there
He's
it is.
Camp Stewart. We're not firing him anytime soon.
Please don't.
And we'll see what Vegas does after the coaching change. There you have it. 3 days a week now. We've got the Hockey Betting Podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll circle back Friday, Cam. We love the Saturday menu when you get a bevy of games, but pretty nice, juicy. You love the word juicy.
I know you do. Yep, I got a juicy chicken in the oven right now, Brian. Real tender.
It's a juicy menu on Thursday night.
You've been listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, BetChrisCanada.net.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.